So in this video, we're asking the critically important question, why do I eat? Why, or while eating, to ask, why am I eating? Now, why is it that I feel that this question is so important, and why is it that most people do not ask themselves this question? That in itself is also an interesting question. So I feel that most people eat for all the reasons that we should not be eating. So, for example, I have discovered in working with clients that a lot of people eat because they are, and to my astonishment, I discovered this, they are bored. Now, boredom is something that I've never understood because, well, I don't get bored, and life is definitely not boring in any way, shape, or form. And if we're participating fully in our lives, gosh, I find that there's way too much to do to ever get bored. However, what we can say is, I don't like what I am doing now, or I don't like where I am in my life. But to say that I am bored, I think is really getting away from the truth of the matter. So let me question you. Why do you eat? Have you ever taken the time to ask yourself that question? And if you have not taken time to ask yourself that question, why not? Why have you not asked yourself that question? Please take a moment to ask yourself why you have not asked yourself that question. If you have, how many times do you ask yourself that question? And most importantly, what is the response you get from yourself? And is it from the outer self you're getting it, or from the inner being of yourself? This is important because a lot of people will say, I'm eat because I'm hungry, and yet they've never known hunger. A lot of people will say, I'm eat because it's 12 o'clock and it's time for lunch. Or they'll say, I'm eating because it's dinner time. And by the way, dinner or supper is different according to the culture in which country you're in. A lot of people do not eat dinner. Or if they do, and they're in Spain, it's really late at night. It's like when I was in Madrid, I was absolutely shocked that siesta lasted so long and that nothing really opened up. And even in private homes, most people were not eating until 10, 11 o'clock at night, even later. That was a shocker to me. I do not do dinner. I never have. And most people do it for many reasons. First of all, usually that's the only time, if there's a family, that the family can sit down together, because they're running around school and work and play and appointments to keep, and just a whole horde of things to keep them from sitting together as a family. And there's still, thank goodness, societies where the families sit together to eat. Now, what if the family, however, sat together at breakfast to eat? What would that mean? And how would this change the family dynamics? What if each person got up and the first thing they did was spend time sitting down quietly with each other and with food and around food and blessing food and partaking in the nourishment of food for whatever reason they do? Now, some people like me partake in food for nourishment. Unfortunately, I found, to my astonishment again, that not many people take in food for nourishment. And that's why we eat for many different reasons, for calories. I hear people in the United States saying, I need to eat so-and-so many calories, or I've got to up my calorie intake, or I've got to load up on my calories, or I have to decrease the amount of calories I eat. They didn't say they have to eat food. They're talking about calories, which is just an abstract thought in the mind. Yes, it can be measured, but it has nothing to do with nourishment. And I think that's why people who eat that way according to calories often feel hungry, because they're hungry for nourishment. They haven't gotten the nourishment. And I'm not just talking about the physical nourishment that food of a certain level, of a certain vibrancy, will and can give us, but because they've not taken the time to nourish themselves as human beings who have needs that are very critical to take care of, such as air, proper oxygen, such as water. How many times do people eat thinking they're hungry when really they're just dehydrated, and severely dehydrated at that too? And had they simply drank some water, they would have noticed that those pangs uh, diminished. And also, how many times do people really sit quietly to eat rather than rush and standing? And even I notice people eating in their cars as they're driving. They're the drivers and they're eating. That's not eating, that's shoveling. That's just throwing something down for the sake of it. Now think about this. If you're really hungry, here's a test for you to know if you're really hungry or not. And if you drank water and you realize that you still have those pangs left. If you're really hungry for food, here's a test that I do with my clients. So you say you're hungry. I will take a bowl like this. See this? This is a bowl of heirloom organic tomatoes. And they're different colors, different hues. Each of them has a whole different, oh, the smell of that one is divine. And look at this. Oh my goodness. Look at the colors. This is what you're eating, because we eat with our eyes and all our senses. Look at the gorgeous colors here that you will be partaking of. But how many people stop to look at the colors, thank the farmers, thank the farm workers, thank the truck drivers, and all the people who lifted it and got it to us. Look at this one again. Oh my gosh, a work of beauty. Just artistry, total artistry. But if you say, I'm hungry, and I give this to you, will you be oohing and eyeing and partaking in the beauty of it and the joy and the smells of it and the feel of it? Or will you say, no, 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 no. I don't want that. I don't want that. But if I say to you, hey, would you like some candy? And you say, oh, yes, 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 that, yes. And I say, well, do you want this one? Or would you like this one? Or would you like this one? Or maybe if you're really hungry, what you really need are minerals. Would you like some Celtic sea salt for that? Or why don't you just have some Celtic sea salt? Because usually when most people say they're hungry, they're lacking in minerals. So if they were really lacking in minerals and they were really hungry for nourishment, this would satisfy. Just putting this in some water and drinking it would satisfy them. Also great for dehydration, by the way, is putting Celtic sea salt in the water if you're severely dehydrated. So if this is something that you are having a problem with and you realize that, I do want this, but you just said you're hungry. You're not really hungry. You just want this. This is just something that you want to satisfy some kind of craving that inside of you interpret as being hungry. But this is not real hunger. This is not food. Or if you say, yeah, I want that bar. I definitely want that banana bread raw sprouted bar. If that's all you want, but you rejected nature in all her beauty and her majesty. And this, by the way, has water, a lot of water in it too. Then you're not hungry. You just think you're hungry. You pretend that you're hungry and you're not really hungry at all. What you're really doing is you're telling yourself that you want something and you're not sure what it is, but you want something to satisfy an urge within you, not hunger, and you're not eating for nourishment. To be hungry is to want nourishment and to have a need for nourishment. And so these tomatoes, you will be thrilled to have them if you really are hungry. And this will be like divine food to you if you are really hungry. But if you're not hungry, this is what your cravings will be. And so it's not coming from a place of lack of nourishment. Now, most of us do not realize it, but most people, and actually, if you look at almost all diseases, people are mineral depleted. They have the depletion of minerals, especially minerals like magnesium is really strong. People think, oh, I need more calcium. And then they take hordes of calcium tablets. They don't eat food. that are rich in calcium and magnesium and zinc and everything else that is needed to digest the calcium, because calcium by itself does nothing. The bones are not just made of calcium. That's only one of the many minerals that bones are made of. And that's not even the most important one, to be quite honest. So we need to really look and stop looking at supplements as food. Supplements are just that. They're meant to supplement our diet from time to time, not, or maybe it's just for a month or 2 or 3 months until we change our diet or the weather has changed or the conditions have changed. So we have food that will remineralize us. But the problem is that the soil is deficient in minerals. So first we have to remineralize the soil first. And that's a huge problem, that we're not interested in the soil. We're only interested in opening this up, throwing it down our throat, having a cake, having some pie, going to a place that is called fast food. It's not fast food. We need to start speaking truthfully. So instead of saying fast food restaurant, because you hear the word food and that means something that you think you need or that's necessary. But if you say instead the truth, which is a food-like substance, I'm going to get this food-like substance, then it's hard to trick yourself to going there. And maybe then you will stop going there. That's one of the ways to stop going there, is drinking water when you feel, oh, I got to go to this fast food place and eat this. Drink water instead and say to yourself, do I need this food-like substance? The minute you say that, it really changes the equation. So our language has everything to do with how we talk ourselves into being hungry and to being sad and to being bloated and to be sick and to be healthy. So we need to start looking at why we eat. And I'm going to be going into this in much greater detail in upcoming videos. And if you'd like to have more of these discussions, please hit the subscribe button and the like button so I know that you want more, and we will go into this further. But for now, please, every time you're about to eat something, ask yourself, why do I eat? What am I eating? Do I really need this? Is this eating for nutrition or not? Always ask yourself before you eat anything, am I eating for nutrition or for another reason? This is a very important question for you to ask yourself, and I invite you to please do so every time you sit down to eat something. This will make a huge change for you. My whole idea of creating this channel and everything else that I'm doing, the shows that I'm going to be doing, and the books that I have written and the book I'm still writing, is to change our relationship with ourselves by changing our relationship with food, to be a loving one, a supporting one, and most importantly, a nutritious one. A nourishing, nurturing one. So please join me here on YouTube and on my other social media sites, and of course on the website serenityspaces.org. So until next time, stay mindful, be bold, and thank you for tuning in.